Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. We're back with Maddox and we're ready to give him some layers. I think his face is dark enough and I think his limbs are dark enough. His nails are pretty dark. His torso's pretty good. So we're just ready to start putting some colors on him and get him set up with some skin tones. And we're going to start with our 05 like we always do. I'm going to get out some sponges. Here's one. I got to pounce this stuff around or it's just too blotchy looking. Just in a few more days, it shouldn't be that much longer. And I'm going to be ordering my waterborne paints and we're going to be doing as soon as they come, that is. I don't know. I'm not sure where waterborne is located. Hopefully it's in the United States. It might be in the UK, I don't know. But or Canada, I don't know. Anyway, that's where McPherson's is in Canada, but they're really fast at shipping. McPherson's is. They have been for me. I know some people said, oh, it's been over 2 weeks and I still don't have my McPherson's order. But I always get mine quick. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it's where they live instead of where McPherson's is located. I'm trying to make a little more room on the table. It's a little bit crowded. I have gotten out lots of paints and didn't put them back away, and lots of different pouncy things, and I don't know, I just have a lot of stuff on the table. I just got finished putting together 5 dolls. Had to give them all eyelashes because none of them had any, so just a lot of things were out. And here we go. We're going to try to give him some color so he's not so pale. Now, painting his torso is going to be a little bit tricky, and here's the reason why. He has to take a cloth body underneath his torso. He's not one of those snap-together dolls. You can tell by the way that he just, I don't know. I'm going to try to demonstrate it. His head doesn't just snap in. It looks like it does, but it won't stay. See, it goes in, but it won't stay in. So there has to be a cloth body under there to hold it down. So that means that, well, at times you can see the cloth body. That means you'd also be able to see this little rim right here. And so you have to paint that. And if you don't paint it, it's going to show real light colored and it's going to look funny. So it's hard to paint. There's nothing to hold on to. Usually I hold on to like this or something when I'm painting it. But if you do that, you can't paint that little rim part. It's just complicated, it's what it is. But we're going to try our best to get this whole torso painted. Sometimes what I do is I'll paint the top half and give it a moment to dry and then turn it around and paint the bottom half. And that way you can paint in these little edges right here where it might show if the body slips or something. I don't really know how to explain it, but sometimes you can see the body on the doll if you turn it a certain way or hold it a certain way. And that's something that you really don't want to see, that part being extremely white. So I always paint it because, I don't know, I just don't want it to show. It's harder to paint with rags inside of it too, because you're going to get paint all over them rags. And it's just messy. Painting torsos is just messy. Anyway, when I finish my my Maddox here, I think I'm going to post the video about the contest. And if you haven't been watching, you don't know about the contest. The contest is going to be based on my videos. It's going to be asking questions for my viewers to answer. The whole idea is the contest needs to be mutually beneficial to me and to the winner of the contest. And in order for that to happen, I need to get something from it. And what I'm looking to get is more views on my videos and more likes and stuff like that. And you know, if I do, then, you know, that's great. And so in order to be in this contest, you have to actually watch the videos, and that's where you're going to get the answers to the questions, and they're not going to be all that easy. A few of them might be, but some of them will be harder. I already gave you one example in another of Maddox's videos of a sample question, and it was an easy one. And this one is another sample question, and it might be a harder one. And it doesn't mean I'm having this question. I'm just using it as a sample, as something I could ask, and that might be hard. What state do I live in? I've talked about myself multiple times on videos, and I'd say here, and I'd say where I live, and I'd say it's really hot or it's cold or whatever. And if you were paying attention, or if you even watch the videos, then you know where I live. You know the state I live in. And that's a sample question. It doesn't mean we're having it. It doesn't mean we're not having it. But you can see how the videos are going to be easy to answer for people who watch them. I mean, my questions are going to be easy to answer for people who actually watch my videos. And the whole idea is to get people to go back and watch some more videos. And in that way, they'll be able to answer my questions. And whoever answers the most questions, let's say there's 20 questions, for example. If somebody answers all 20, they're probably gonna win, unless more than one person answers all 20. And if that happens, then there will be probably a series of follow-up questions for those people. And if there's still a tie, and it continues to be a tie with follow-up questions, we'll just draw the name from the people who answered the questions correctly. You'll only get in the contest if you can answer the questions. So you can choose if you want to do it or not. It's not mandatory by any means, but if you want to win the doll, and I will show you the doll at the beginning. I'm not going to surprise you with some ugly doll. I'm going to show you the doll that you're going to win when we start, well, if you win, when we start the contest. And I'm going to also put in the description, I decided this last night when I was thinking about it, I'm going to put into the description area of the video my Facebook link. And I'm going to say everybody who wants to participate needs to go to my Facebook, write the questions down while I'm giving them to you, and then find out your answers. I'm going to wait about a week for the answers to be given, and there'll be a cutoff date, which I'll give out the cutoff date as well, so that everybody will know when they have to have their answers by. And then whenever I give out the questions, you can do whatever you need to answer them. Go to my Facebook page and private message me through Messenger the answers. Like number 1, the answer is this. Number 2, the answer is this. And then I'll compare everybody's answers and see who answered the most right. And that person will get the doll. And it will be a completed doll. I'll show you everything you get with the doll on the video that I make. And we're going to get this contest underway. And if it doesn't work out, well, I'm going to give up on contests, because I have tried and tried in the past to have a contest. I was just going to give a doll away to one of my viewers, and not enough viewers would make their profiles public where I could see who they were, so I could add them to the wheel to spin for, you know. That's what we'll use. Is Facebook actually has a spinning wheel, and you can just plug in the names of the people who are in your contest, and it will spin for you. You just push a button, it spins. It's very, very fair. And And there's no favoritism either, because they spin for you. You don't actually spin, they spin. And so, that would be the way I would do it, because I don't want any, favoritism. Because I want this to be a real contest. And so, in order to enter the contest, I'm telling you now, you could start watching some videos. And while you're there, I'm looking for more likes and more views. While you're there, like the video. And believe it or not, I can tell who watched what video, and I can also tell who liked them. All I have to do is go into the analytics of my channel, and it shows me how many people watched them all the way to the end, all that stuff. It's very, very analytical, so that you can build your channel according to the information you get. And it tell you how many people are subscribers, and the names to all the people who have public subscriptions. Well, not the names, but their username. Your name might be Brenda Smith, and you might have Brenda Star 62 or something for your screen name, and that's the one I'll see. And it'll also say 5 people like this video, and if you clicked on that, it'll tell you who the people are that liked it. So I'll know. And people don't think I really will. The last time I was doing the contest, I was requiring people to watch at least 10 videos and like the videos, and go through and just like all my videos. And here's what happened. Oh, I did it, put my name in, but they didn't do a thing. And I said, this ain't working out. I had like 2 names, and you can't draw with 2 names, because nobody would make at that time I didn't have as many followers. And so I needed the people to make their profiles public. No, they wouldn't do it. So, okay, well, I can't have a contest then, If you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. People were just going, put me in, I did it. And you're not even a subscriber as far as I can tell, which is, you want to be, you also have to be a subscriber to my channel. So if you're looking online and you see my video and you say, oh, I want in that contest for that doll, you can watch all the videos you want. You're going to need to subscribe too, because like I said, it needs to be mutually beneficial to me and to the person who wins. And my benefit is going to be a little uptake on my channel, a few more viewers, a few more likes, a few more actual views of my videos and stuff like that. And that's what I want. And what you want is the doll. So we can benefit each other. So I have a few viewers who already watch every single video I put out, and they like them. They also comment a lot, which I like that too. But they'll say, oh, I love the way you did that hair. How did you do that? Or something like that. And or they'll compliment me on something about the doll, or they'll I'm not just looking to have my ego stroked. Comments also mean people are watching your channel. They're commenting on your doll, or they're asking a question or something, giving you a tip, that they noticed something in your video and they want to give you a tip, which I love tips too. And I have one person that gives me lots of tips, and I appreciate her so much. And I don't like to drop people's names. They might not want their name announced on on a public forum like this, and so I don't mention their names. But they know who they are. People know who they are when I'm talking about them. They know I mean them. And anyway, that's what we're gonna do. And I can't wait. I want to see y'all's answers. I want to see who all really is paying attention to my videos. And I've mentioned so many things about my life, about my family, about where I live, about making dolls, about just general things about me. And so, you know, I'm going to be asking a variety of questions that they won't be answered in one video. You can guess at the answers. You're free to do that, but chances are you won't get them right. Takes so much more time to paint a doll when you're doing a torso. So much more time. Did you put the biscuits in already?
Huh?
Have you put the biscuits in?
I have. Doesn't matter if they're piping hotter.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think the meat is thawed out yet.
No, probably not.
I'm gonna try to get Maddox back in the oven before I start making it. I've still got a little ways to go on him, so. I wish his fingers looked a little less weird. They just look weird to me. I don't like that they bow back like that. Babies don't hold their fingers like that. I have never seen a baby hold their fingers like that. His other hand's fine. It doesn't look funny. If I could just make these fingers bow the other way, it'd be a whole lot better. But I don't see any way to do that. I guess I could roll them up, but you can't keep them rolled up. Just won't work. I'm going to put 2 coats of this on. I was looking earlier at Precious Gift when I made her. I don't know. I don't think I made her online. I don't know. I showed her to you. I showed you one of her legs or arms or something on how I creased her, but she was just pale when I was putting it together. At least that's what I thought. So we're going to be putting some coats on this doll. I don't want it to be so pale. I think her blue's showing through real nice. Well, his. This is a he doll.
You better open your camera.
Anyway. Yep, this takes a little while. It's a lot more to it when you're doing a torso because you have to do that big old thing too. Plus the baking takes longer because the whole thing won't fit in the oven at one time. He will barely fit. And then this big old torso. So I put the torso in and an arm and a leg, and then I put the head and an arm and a leg. And that way they have plenty of room, they don't touch or anything. You have to really, really position them right if you put just Maddox and his limbs in to keep them from touching. Okay, that's him painted all the way one time. I'm now gonna paint his torso again. This time I'm gonna start at the bottom. It seems like it might be a little easier. I'll try to get these rims painted, because if you don't, like I said, you're going to have a little bit of a light color there whenever his body slips a little bit, and it's going to. I've had a Maddox in my collection before that was anatomically correct with his torso, and you move them a certain way and you see that torso, you see that cloth body, and when you see the cloth body, you're also going to see this little rim that's at the edge here, and if it's not painted, you're not going to like it. So here we go. We're going to paint him over again, try to get him a little darker. We're going to have biscuits and gravy for supper tonight. I can't wait. I love that dinner. We make what they make in, well, I don't know if, I guess the Army does it too, but I know the Marine Corps does it because my daddy was in the Marine Corps, and he fought in the Korean War, and anyway, it was that long ago. So anyway, if you're familiar with the Korean War, I don't know, but while he was in the service, they made gravy at breakfast time, and they called it SOS. And we just call it ground beef gravy. That's what my mother called it. We sometimes called it SOS, but we never used the words that SOS stand for, because there's a little kind of little bad word in there. That S word that's for poop on shingles. They'd serve it on toast, and they'd call that shingles, and they call the gravy, you know, that word. And I don't want to say it. And but anyway, we weren't allowed to say any sort of a bad word when we were kids. My mother would always say, you're going to hear people say words like that, but those are not words for you, and don't say them. You know, every kid's going to slip up and say it one time if they've heard it. And, well, my daddy cussed like a sailor, and he wasn't a sailor, he was a Marine, but still, he loved that gravy, and my mother made it all the time for him after, you know, they got married, and we ate it too, and we liked it too, and we'd have it mostly for breakfast. That's when they made it, was for breakfast. They'd make scrambled eggs and sausage and all kind of stuff like that, but they made that SOS gravy too. And anyway, long story short, we're having that tonight. I love it. It's a milk gravy. You make it with milk, and it's so delicious. It's mostly just ground beef, and you know, the grease makes the gravy, and you just take flour and milk and salt and pepper and just make it up, you know. And it's really, really good. We love it. My mother used to make it all the time. I miss my mother. She died in the year 2000. My dad did too. They both died of cancer. And they weren't even together when they died. My mother had colon cancer, and my father had kidney cancer, which is a weird kind of cancer. I didn't really know you got kidney cancer. This was a long time ago, like 25 years ago. Anyway, I miss my mother so very much. I miss my dad too, but not as much as my mother, because we weren't living with our dad for many years. My mother left him over and over again. She kept going back, but she did leave him, and she finally wouldn't go back anymore. She finally got brave enough to actually say no, she wouldn't go back. He'd always wait a while and try to come get us, and I think he tried as best as he could. He was a raging alcoholic, and he hit my mother. That's why she left him. Okay, there's his body twice. Now we're gonna work on it. I should work on his head next. I'm trying to go in the same order I went the first time, so that I know that the parts are dry enough. And when we get through with this, I'm gonna look him over and see if he needs his nails or anything done, which I don't think he's going to, but they look good to me. His nails are slightly lighter than his lips, but that's okay. You don't have to have every part of them that gets blush on them the same color. As long as you don't have half their face blush dark and the other half light or something like that. Or the top lip is dark and the bottom lip is light. You know what I mean. That stuff needs to be even. Every once in a while I just get so hungry for gravy. It's so good on biscuits or toast. Most of the time we have it on toast, but tonight we're having it on biscuits. Yummy, yummy biscuits. We buy frozen biscuits instead of those canned biscuits. Are awful. They have a preservative taste to them, and we don't like them. But they have even the off-brand, even the Great Value brand you get at Walmart is way good. The frozen ones are. You just put them on a cookie sheet. You don't have to thaw them out or nothing. It gives you the instructions on the temperature and the time to bake them, and just pop them in the oven and bake them, and they're just toast up so good, and they're so yummy. And coming from the South like I do, biscuits is a big part of the bread that people eat, cornbread and biscuits. And we are technically below the Mason-Dixon line, so we're technically a southern state. We're not as southern as Mississippi or Alabama or Louisiana. We're right above them. We're Tennessee. And Tennessee has got a wide variety. Tennessee is one of the few states, I think it's the only state, that has 3 distinct different areas. It's got East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee. And different cultures in those areas. In East Tennessee, it's very mountainous, and there's a lot of mountain people there. And in Middle Tennessee, they have a different kind of culture than we have here in West Tennessee still. We're close to the Mississippi River, and very close, actually. You can just drive 16 miles and there's the river, And it's on the other side of Henning, which is part of Lauderdale County. So, yeah, you can just get right to the river just by driving down one highway. Just keep on that same highway and it goes right straight to the river, and it'll dead end, and there's a barricade and you can't go any further because guess what? When the river, the mighty Mississippi River really flows hard, it has a huge current, and it's knocking the parts of the bank off constantly. We've been there many, many times with the children, my children. My husband and I, he used to love to go to the river. And we didn't go there to swim or anything. He just went to watch the barges go by or something like that. And we'd go to that drop-off. And I always had to make the kids stand back further because he'd let them get close to the edge. I said, what if part of that drops off while they're standing on? Because you worry too much. Anyway, it never did. But, I mean, over the years of us going to the river, you could see that they had moved the barricades several times because, well, it keeps dropping off and it gets too close to the barricade. And houses that were down there over the years, I mean, we went for a number of years, like 10 or 15, I don't know. We'd go all the time. He'd go, let's go for a drive. I go, I know we're going to the river. I just know we are. And he'd go, yep, that's where we're going. And anyway, there was some houses down there that there'd be this little road to the side off of the highway, and it'd lead down to a little house down there. And then people would have to move out of that house because, well, it's fixing to drop off. And sure enough, you'd go back another time, no house. And it had dropped off into the river. And they weren't like the kind of house you would live in a city or anything. They were like little shacks, and people would go to the river to fish and stuff, and they'd stay in those little shacks, and they called them their like fishing house or their their rustic cabin or something like that. It wasn't their normal house that they lived in all the time. Just so we're clear, nobody's house was down there. Even though you had to go through the bottoms to get to the river, and the bottoms flooded all the time, and people's houses were up on big, they were built up, almost like they had an upstairs, but there was no downstairs. Instead, it was just like on stilts. It looked so odd looking. It's like there's no downstairs. It's just, you know, like some people have half of their houses up high and they can park underneath it. It's their parking space or something. It's like that, only the whole house is up like that. They don't have basements or anything like that. You can't have a basement in Lauderdale County. The water table's too wrong. It would just flood, and because we're close to the river, I guess. And it's just odd. I remember the first time, you know, we'd never seen any houses like that. They were completely looked like they're standing on stilts, like a person would be if they were on stilts. And of course, they're not just sticks. They're poles, of course, but you know, they're built up high, so that when it does flood down in the bottoms, your house won't flood. And believe it or not, these people who live in those houses, when it does flood, they have to take a boat out. They park their car wherever they can on dry land, and they get in a boat, and I know this because my mother-in-law used to live down in the bottoms in Haywood County, and she told me, she said, yeah, we had our house up like that, and when it flooded, you know, we'd have to get the kids to school, and we'd have to put them in a boat and take them to dry land, and then from there they'd get in a car. They'd have to leave their car at wherever it was safe to leave it, you know, where it wouldn't flood the car out, you know, or float it away or whatever it would do, and they would get in the boat to go to town or something, you know, or to school. And that's weird. We never had to do that. Now, we've lived in some rustic places in our life, but never anything that bad. And she also told me that down there by the bottoms where the river is, rats are real bad. They had rats, and she just put up with it. I don't know. I couldn't do that. I dislike rats. I think most people do. That was my mother-in-law. I'm not saying that there wasn't a time in Lauderdale County that pretty much everybody in the country probably had rats, but that would have been many long years ago. And we're talking about the 50s and 60s and probably even the early 70s, because, you know, when my husband was growing up, he was 3 years older than me. So I was born in 1957 and he was born in 1954. And when he was growing up down in the bottoms, well, they lived in some sharecropper shack. They were sharecroppers, and when the kids had to work after school, they stacked wood. Their dad, which was my husband's stepdad, because she was married 3 times, and some of the children were stepchildren to the dad, and my husband was the eldest child, so, you know, he was definitely one of the stepchildren. But he was a good stepdad. My husband said he was better than his own dad, and he always treated all the kids the same, no matter if they were really his kids or his stepkids. And they called him Daddy, because they never saw their daddy, because their daddy lived in Chicago, and their stepdaddy lived here in Tennessee. And so they lived here with their mother, who was married to their stepdad at the time. And anyway, the kids would come home from school and they'd have to stack wood, or the husband, he ran a sawmill for a while, and he would make axe handles out of some of the wood that he'd cut to sell on his own on the side, and they'd have to stack axe handles too. And I guess a lot of people would bring, this is what she told me, a lot of people would bring their tools to him to get them fixed, and he would need the handles. They were also could be, you know, other kind of handles too, but like if they were shorter, they could be hammer handles and stuff like that, you know. But he made a lot of those wooden handles. I guess he had a lathe or something, I don't know. But she used to tell me lots of stories about raising up her kids. they lived for a while, and they lived in shacks, but it's because they were sharecroppers, you know. And her husband would have to look after the cows, and she'd say he could call the cows up and they'd come to him. You know, a lot of people don't know this if they don't live in a rural town. Cows are very afraid of people, especially if they're just pastured and you don't handle them a lot or go out there where they are a lot. They're afraid of you. They see you coming, they run. But not his cows. His cows, he could call them up and they'd come. I guess he spent a lot of time handling the cows or something, or getting in close proximity to them when he was feeding them. Most people just have these feeding things. They're real funny looking. I don't know how to describe them. And they put hay into it, and then the cows come up later after you leave and eat the hay. And in the summer, you don't have to feed the cows. They eat grass, but in the wintertime, you have to give them hay because, well, there's no grass. And so farmers usually let their grass grow really long, and then they cut it and bale it up like hay. It's really grass, but it's dried up grass. And because it's dried up, they have to have way more of it than they would have if they were eating, you know, fresh green grass, because it's just dried up. It's like you eating dry dog food or something. You know, it just doesn't have much. Well, dry dog food is balanced to be nutritious, but you know, a lot of the part that the cow would eat for nutrition and is dried up, and so they don't get much, and so they have to have more of it. Okay, he's painted twice. I hope that's good. He does look dark, but you know, a lot of times after I bake them, they don't look dark anymore. I don't know why. They just look, well, they do get lighter when they bake. That's just common, but I'm talking a lot lighter. Precious Gift got very pale, and Candy's pretty pale too. Some of these kits, I think it's their vinyl. Their vinyl is just not the same. I don't know if they use a different kind of vinyl or it's just thinner, or I don't really know. All I know is they don't look as good as some of the other kits. You can do the exact same actions to them and they don't come out the same. Anyway, we're gonna get him in the oven, and we're gonna get him a bake, and then when we come back, we'll be ready for, hopefully, for the next color. I think he's looking good so far. This is how he looks in his face right now. But now he's gonna get lighter after he bakes. So the 05 doesn't really show that much usually because, well, it's very light. Even this darker color, this is way in the middle. Most people use 08. And it's very pinky peachy colored, and I don't like it because they're super pale with that. But I use this 05 because it's darker. The way I came about doing this is I noticed when I was using the 08, well, it's called baby skin, and what they do is they take the old 08, which is very peachy. It's almost this color. I don't even have any of it because I don't use it, but and they put some pinky color into it to make it rosier looking. So the baby skin's even peachier looking than the 08. But the 08 is very, very pale. You can put 3-4 coats on, and it still doesn't even look like you put anything on the kit at all. And I thought, well, this is just ridiculous. So I went to the 07, which was a little better, but I still thought it was too light. And then I went to 06, and when I got to 05, I was starting to get some results that were closer to what I wanted. So, and I did go down to 04, but it was just too dark. It's a big jump between 5 and 4 to me. Too big of a jump. And so I just didn't stick with that. And got a little speck on his ear. I'm trying to get it off. I don't like any sort of things like that on my dog. I think I might paint his lips again. They look a little bit off color. I don't know. Maybe it's because I put the 05 on top, but usually that doesn't happen. You don't see the lips looking like that just because you put paint on top, because I've done it many times. Put paint right on top of the lips and nails, and it didn't affect their color at all. So that's why I say just put every color all over your doll. It's better that way. And usually I think it is, but this time, I don't know. His lips look faded, so I'm gonna repaint them. They do not look the color that we want them to be. And now when he comes out of the bake, it might look a little better. I don't know, but I'm just going to paint them. Everything gets lighter when you paint it because it's darker when it's wet. It's not a huge bit darker, but it is dark enough that it will lighten up after the bake. So when you're painting, don't go, well, it gets lighter, so I'm going to make it real, real dark, because you'll be sorry. You'll get it too dark. And it's better to put multiple coats on in layers and bake in between, because that way you can control your color a lot better. You don't want the lips too red, but we don't want them to be actual pink colored either. Pink is not a color that I think belongs on a doll. I always say pink does not belong on your doll. And another color is green. They make a green color. Why? I don't even know what you do with a green color. And I'm not talking about that mint green that people use for neutralizing. This is a green green. Viridian, I think. It's Viridian green. And it's a darkish color. And what in the heck would you do with that? Where would you put it on your doll? I'm certainly not going to model my doll with that green color. So I can't even imagine what it would be used for. There, I did his nose again too. That's something I tend to forget, is the nose. Let me see about his, yeah, I'm gonna do his nails again too. Even though they do look pretty good, they are kind of on the light side to me. I would like them a little bit darker so that when I put the white tips, I'm gonna try to remember to tip him. I'm still not used to tipping. I haven't been doing it that long. And so I forget sometimes to tip the nails. If I was more practiced in it and I'd been doing it for a lot longer than I have, I would remember it every time, because I remember all the other steps. I sometimes choose not to do some of the steps, but it's not because I forgot them. Like I didn't forget about creasing or modeling. I choose not to model. I did crease him, but it doesn't show boldly. I don't want it to show boldly though. But I don't like modeling at all. It makes them look splotchy, like they have ringworm or something. Or maybe they're a space alien. You know, they just don't look natural to me. And it doesn't look natural when babies are actually modeled up either. It's usually because they're cold or their blood's not circulating really, really good or something. It's something to do with their blood flow. And it models them up like that. But they only usually stay modeled up just for a little while, and then it goes away because they get warmer or they move around more or something. Something causes it to go away. And I'm really not sure what actually causes it. My mother used to say it was poor circulation. And babies don't have the most fantastic circulation, I'm sure. So it could be that. And she'd always tell us when we'd have a model, even as little kids, we had model looks on our legs sometimes. And she'd say, walk around and it'll go away. And sure enough, it would. So it does have something to do with your blood flow. I just don't know exactly what causes it. But nobody's modeled all the time, and that's not something, you know, like you wouldn't want to take a picture of your kid with them having modeling all over. You'd tell them to walk around or something to get rid of it first, because it's not attractive. And even though, you know, a lot of people want extreme realism in their doll, I wouldn't want that. And I still think that people, some people, not all people, some people do have a reality grip, and they're going, yeah, it looks like a baby. I want it to look like a baby. But let's be realistic. It's really just a doll. And you know, some stuff about your doll, yeah, make it look like a baby in that way. But some of the other ways, no, don't do that. It's not attractive. That's the way I do my dolls. If I don't think it's attractive, I automatically think other people aren't going to think it too. Because I just keep going back to that doll I got from that lady that was heavily, heavily modeled. But you know what? You could not see it in the picture. You could not. And it was just extremely, extremely bad looking to me. And the thing that struck me the most was when she said it looked natural, like her own skin. I go, she must be super modeled up. Anyway, we're going to get Maggie Maddox. I just keep wanting to call it Maggie. I made almost all my dolls into Maggies that I made from this kit. But it didn't have a torso, or it had the female torso. But when I look at the face, I see Maggie. I don't really see Maddox. And I have made some of my Maggie dolls into Maddoxes and just left off the torso. But still, I tend to call it Maggie all the time. I'm going to tell you all about this pen again. This is a great pen. And I bought this pen in a 3-pack. It had a blue and a black with it. And I've been drawing on my doll's head. I don't particularly map out the head, but I do draw a line where I want the, where I don't want to go any further. I don't want to go any closer to the face. I'll draw a line across the head just wherever I want it on that particular doll. So it just reminds me, hey, stop, because, you know, you get to rooting and you don't pay attention how close you are to the face, and you've done rooted too much. And so, and it just wipes right off with water. I think I demonstrated it on my practice kit. And the lady that I got the tip from said, and she used the red one, just like I do. I used the blue one time because it was in the bedroom, and this one was in here, and I root in my bedroom just to keep hairs off my table here. I root in another whole room on a different table. And anyway, I drew the blue line on his head, and I couldn't get it off. So I'm going to say that the blue and the black do not erase as easy as the red. I don't know why. Maybe it's the color of the ink or how much dye is in the ink. I don't know. I never got that blue off. I did get it off, but I had to use soapy water on that doll. And mostly you only have to use something wet. You could just use a wet paper towel and wipe it right off the doll's head. Or you could use a baby wipe or something, you know, and it just wipes right off. And or the lady that I saw do it just stuck her finger in a glass of water and wiped it off with her finger. And it does wipe off that easy. She said if you take a long time to root, like say a week or 2 weeks or something, you might have to use soapy water on it, but it will come off. And my experience, I don't take that long to root. I try to do it, you know, stay at it a long time each day until it's done. So I haven't had any trouble getting the red off at all. And this is made by Pilot. It's called Friction, Frixion, and it's a erasable pen. So if you wrote on paper with it, this little nub at the bottom, which looks like what you push to open and close the pen, is actually the eraser. This little clip right here where you can clip it onto your shirt or something, that's the part you push up and down to open and close the pen. But it's a great pen. And a lady in our doll group used a chalk marker, and she wrote on her doll's head, and she could not get it off. And several other people, she posted, what can I do to get this off without ruining my doll? And some people said, sadly, there's really not anything you can do. If it won't come off, it just won't come off. You're going to need to conceal it with maybe some penciled hair or something. And so I immediately told her about this pen, to next time use this pen, because it does come off and it doesn't damage your doll at all that I can tell. I mean, no residual anything. Here's Steven. I've already rooted him, and you cannot see anywhere where any red marker has been on his forehead up here. You can't see it at all because it's gone. It's completely gone. And anyway, I just want everybody to know about this pen and to use it, because if you map, I don't really map, but like I said, I just draw that line. Otherwise, I don't need a map. I just know which direction to put the hair already. But anyway, a lot of people use a map because they want a certain swirl design, and they want just a lot of different things they want, and so they draw it, which is nothing wrong with that. But I just don't do it. It bothers me when I'm rooting that there's a line there, and I didn't want to go in that exact direction, and I feel compelled to because I put a line there. I'm different from other people. Let's just put it that way. I think it's OCD, but still, I tend to not want to go with the flow so much. I want to change it up as I'm going. I want to be able to have the freedom to change my mind about the direction I was going to go in, because now it doesn't look natural anymore, you know, something like that. But anyway, if you haven't ever had a pen or any sort of a marker that you can mark on your doll's head, this is the best one I've ever used. And I've used quite a number of things, including chalk, a sewing marker that somebody told me would wash out, and I couldn't get it off of one of my doll's heads. I just had to root the hair extremely, extremely thick to cover it up, and way closer to the face than I wanted to, because, well, it was just going to show, you know. And several other things. I've used Prisma pencils. You get it too dark of a Prisma pencil and you got a line, you know, in 24 hours it's going to become semi-permanent. You won't get all of it off. You'll get some of it off, but not all of it. And after 2 or 3 days, it won't come off at all. It just becomes permanent. And I mean, you could put a caustic liquid on it and get it off, but that might take your paint off too. And so, not a good idea. So, pencils will, at least Prisma pencils. I don't know about any other kind of pencils. I know there's other quality pencils you can use to write on your doll with, but I've always used Prisma pencils. Some people in the doll group have mentioned other brands that I never even heard of, but you can tell by the name of them, they're not just common colored pencils that children color with. They're for art, for, you know, crafting and stuff. And they use those, and they say they work good too, and they have great colors, and I'm sure they become, if you bake Prisma pencils, you're probably not going to get them off. And I always sealed, when I was doing pencil hair, I always sealed the pencil hair anyway, but because, well, over time it could wear down. I don't know. But if you put sealer over it, that sealer takes, I don't know. I've never had a doll where the sealer came off. So that's what would have to happen before the pencil would come off. If you seal on top, the sealer would have to come off first. And the sealer I use, you can actually feel it on the doll. They have a sort of texture to them. It's a little bit rough, and I had to start including that in my description because people said, why does my doll feel like this? All the other dolls I have are smooth. Well, whoever made them probably didn't seal them. I only know of one sealer. Now, I'm not talking about any air dries. I'm pretty sure they are smooth. But in heat set, I've only ever used one sealer that even felt smooth. And it still had a slight texture to it. And that was that Pratt sealer. It came in a little bottle like this. And it has a P there, and it says Pratt. Pratt paints and stuff like that. And this is the thinning medium. It's not the sealer, but the sealer came in a little jar just like this. And it was real white, real white. But when you put it on the doll, it looked clear. I have a piece of fuzz in my mouth. I put dolls together today, and I put 5 together. And they're in there laying on my bed, waiting for clothes and photographs now. But anyway, yeah, I put the sealer on the doll and bake it, and you can still feel it, but it feels smooth, way smoother than this. And this one would feel way rougher if I didn't put thinning medium in it, and I cut it a little bit with paint thinner and all that. Otherwise, it would be very, very rough. It's kind of rough anyway, but super, super rough. And a lot of people add texture to their doll on purpose. And I don't need to add any because they already have texture, because I put that sealer on them at the beginning, because it works really good at the beginning to make the paint take hold. And if you've ever painted a doll that you didn't seal excuse me, you probably know from experience, sometimes, not all times, there'll be parts of the doll that doesn't want to take the paint. It might be the fingertips, it might be the toes. A couple of times it was just the back of the leg or something. And there'd be a spot, you're just trying to cover it up, and you're making the area around it darker and darker by pouncing it over and over again. And it just won't take the color. And that's why I started sealing, because I had that happen to mostly artist kits, is what I had it happen to. Hardly ever to a reborn. But throughout my entire reborning career, I've mostly always just bought Bountiful Baby dolls. I have bought a few dolls like on eBay or something, and they'd have a doll in there that wasn't a Bountiful Baby, and I'd paint it, but I don't like doing those strange looking dolls. I get used to the way, I already know how the Bountiful Babies look. I can even look at their limbs and tell you what doll they go to. I've been doing it so long. And I don't like going off the beaten path and trying to do something new. I'm just not a creature I'm not that kind of creature. I'm the kind that likes whatever I'm already used to. I don't like change. Anyway, I did do those dolls, but I didn't like doing them. And here's a funny thing. I ordered, it was a little elf. It was a Shauna Clymer doll. And I know she has a different last name now, but anyway, and it came straight from her. She was the one selling it. And I paid a lot of money for that kit because it was a little elf, and I wanted to make a little elf. And it came with something to me that looked just like a photograph of the doll. I didn't even save it. That was the certificate of authenticity. It would look like just she'd taken a picture of the doll and wrote on there Shauna Clymer, and it said the name of the doll and a few other little things. And I just thought, okay, well, she sent me a picture of the doll. Okay. And so I didn't think nothing of it. I just threw it off to the side or something, and some time or other it got thrown away or something. And then somebody told me, doesn't it have a COA? And I said, no, it didn't come with one. And she said, it looks like a picture. I said, oh, I threw that away. I didn't know it was because, Bountiful Babies are very distinctive. They look like a COA instead of a picture of the doll. I'm gonna move this candy head. I haven't baked her yet. She's going to be the replacement head for those candy limbs. Here's one of them. They look like this, and I'm so used to seeing them. It says birth certificate, real-born Emma asleep. Emma is a discontinued doll, so she will be a keeper for me. I bought her to keep. I'm going to make her and keep her, and Emmy too. Emmy newborn. Emmy toddler, I think, is discontinued. But anyway, Emmy newborn has those little tiny hands and little tiny feet. They're 1/4 limbs. It's just like if you cut this off at the ankle right here and put a little flange on it, that's what she has. And you'd have to have a body to fit that. And I do have the body, but I dislike that body configuration. The arms are too skinny and long. It looks unnatural. And so I switched her limbs out because I have a whole bunch of limbs that I bought on a sale from Bountiful Baby. They were like $6.99 for a set of arms or something like that, and maybe $8.99 for a set of legs. And to me, it's way worth it for her to be a full limb baby to switch them out. And I just threw them little feet and hands in that box of stuff I'm going to sell. And so I was asking $100 for it, but right now it's on sale. I think it's 50 or 45. I don't remember. $45 or $50, and it's got 2 little Emma kits, and they're not this Emma. They're the little 10-inch artist doll Emma. This Emma that I was just showing you the certificate for is a real born. They just discontinued her. I don't know why. You never can find her anymore. She's not even in the recently discontinued kit. She's so long discontinued you can't even find her anymore. But back in the day when it was no big deal to people whether or not the doll was 3/4 limbs or full limbs, they used to make a lot of dolls with 3/4 arms and full limbs. Thomas is one, Clyde is one, Emma was one, Asher, Case, Presley, a lot of dolls. Charlotte, and these some of those are real borns. Charlotte's not, but Presley and Case and Emma and Clyde and Thomas, they're all real borns, and they all had 3/4 arms, and it was no big deal. Nobody cared. It was fine. And now people want full limbs only. But I just can't make a Clyde if I don't give him his right limbs. They look so cute with his body, and I just don't care if they're 3/4. If I can get hold of me a Clyde awake and asleep, I'm gonna make them for me, because he's on those real borns that got discontinued that they say they're gonna bring back, but they haven't done it yet. And I want Clyde real bad. I had a beautiful Clyde, but Clydes were a dime a dozen. You could get as many as you wanted, and I sold him, And then all of a sudden, nah, can't get them. Steven's discontinued. Felicity, Emmy, which is Joseph's big sister. She's the oldest child in that family, I think. Emmy. And then there's Joseph, and then there's Cannon. And Darren and Cannon. And a lot of those kits you can't get right now. And a lot of kits are out of stock too. I just can't even imagine how they're going to get that many kits back in stock in any timely fashion. So we may not get to make any before Christmas, which is making me upset. I want to make those kits and get them up for sale, but well, may not can. They're focusing on newer kits and silicones and things like that, and these artist kits that they brought back, like 50 of them. They could have restocked every kit they had in that amount of time that they took to make these artist kits, which I'm glad they made them. I'm not complaining. I like the artist kits, but the thing is we're sacrificing realborns for it because, well, I don't know. I always thought the artist kits had more character though, because somebody just sat down and molded them from imagination. They didn't, make them. The realborns are made from 3D scans. They use 3D cameras and a 3D printer, and they photograph the baby in 3D, and then the 3D printer prints out like a plastic head and plastic arms, and then they inspect them to see if they look right, and if they look right, they make a mold out of it, and then they mold the dolls in vinyl. But the other dolls, I don't know how they do them. I don't know if a 3D printer is involved or not. Maybe they take 3D pictures after they're molded. I don't know. But I know that somebody sits down with some kind of a form and they mold out a doll. You can get rudimentary shapes of heads and stuff in different sizes. And they use clay and they mold out what they want the doll to look like. And then when it's finished, they cast a mold of some kind to make the vinyl doll. And because they're using their imagination, they're changing little nuances about the baby to make them unique and different. Because a lot of times, real babies just have the same kind of looking lips and, stuff like that. And a lot of these realborns are related. They're some kind of relation to the Pratts, either cousins or cousins' children or nieces or nephews or grandchildren. I think there's a couple that are actually Denise Pratt's children. So they're related. So they sort of resemble anyway. Now some of them are not related. They are just babies because they will let you apply, probably by sending a picture of your baby, to have your baby photographed and possibly made into a kit later on. But a lot of times, like Stephen, right here, Stephen, his rim says 2000 and, well, this one doesn't say. Most of them have dates on them that are way, he's got cut hair on his rim. They're way further in the past than when the kit came out, because that's when they photographed them, probably when they were born. Like some kits that are fairly new, say 2018 on them or something. And this is 2025 and they've been out for like a year. I mean, so it takes them a long time to go from photographing the baby to get them into a kit. I know that one of Denise Pratt's daughters is one of the people who does that. They edit them with a computer, because she said anywhere on the baby where they took the 3D pictures that would be wet, like around their eyes and their mouth, it won't show hardly anything, and they have to edit it and change it, and then they're comparing it to the real baby pictures and everything, trying to make it look like the real baby. And a lot of them really do. I've seen the picture that they'll put a little picture of the real baby right next to the kit, and it's like, okay, that looks identical, so okay, it works. But it takes a long time probably to do all that, and they probably have a bunch of them that they do. And then they do like test prints in 3D, in with the 3D printer to test to see what they might need to change. Like, oh, these fingers don't look right or something like that, you know. But with the artist kits, it's a whole different ball game. They just mold what they want, and that's what they use. And so it's probably quicker. I don't know for sure. But anyway, that's how they do it. And I like those better than I like, you know, like if you order your dolls from Dolls by Sandy or McPherson's or right from the artist even, they're going to be, excuse me, they're going to be dolls from somebody's imagination, which you would think that they would be more in line with the artist kits that Bountiful Baby sells, but they're just not. Some of them just look weird to me. Oh, they have some very pretty ones. Laura's pretty, and Tobias is pretty. I've seen some really, really stunning looking babies, and they're not Realborns. They're some other company's babies. But a lot of the other ones, they are just weird looking to me. And I just can say everybody has different taste and everybody likes different things, and that's fine. You know, there's nothing that says you have to like the same doll I like. But and they're highly expensive, like $100 for a kit or something. And I won't even buy them from Bountiful Baby when they're regular price, like $69. I have to wait till they go on sale. And so that is one of the factors that has me buying from Bountiful Baby, is their kits are much, much more affordable. And I bought some of those kits from McPherson when they were doing the Boo Boo Babies. And I just have to say, strange. What they were selling at that time, very, very strange. Some of them just looked like clowns or something. They had such a goofy look on their face. I hated them. I ended up selling them to a lady who wanted them to practice, to learn how to. I made a few of them into avatars and things, and they just weren't even popular as alternative babies. And so I just sold them all, the rest of them off. I bought about 15 of the $25 kit, $20. I think there were $20 kits, and then there were some that were $15, and I bought a few of those. And some of them were cute. Now, some of them were real cute, and some of them were weird. And there was, okay, I have a doll up there that I use for my practice kit, one of my practice kits, but I cut her eye out. I was trying to make those peeping eyes, and I didn't do it right. And you see the vinyl looks purple to me. And other than penciling on some hair and sealing her and putting a little bit of colors on her face a couple times, I haven't done anything to this doll. But just imagine her with a closed eye here. She just looks goofy to me. I don't know. I don't like her. She's Ellie. I just like her very, very much. And there was another one with open eyes that looked almost identical to this one. Goofy, big old smile like that on their face. And deep dimples on their face. Very weird looking. The face they're making is just not, I don't know, it's not baby-like at all. This is a kit that has to always look like a doll, kind of like Candy. But anyway, to each his own, that's all I can say. I don't like them. And the vinyl feels like rubber. It doesn't even feel like vinyl. They feel very rubbery. And the color is way off on them. They're purple looking. Anyway, enough complaining. I'm going to get Maddox back in the oven and get him baked. And when we come back, we're going to put some warm blush on him. So I'm going to ask everybody to please like, subscribe, and share. And happy reborning.